Welcome. I'm Misha Abkarian, Director of AJC Project Interchange. I am so thrilled to welcome you to Project Interchange and to Israel. We've put together a fantastic video series for you that will help us and you understand Israel a little bit better. Today's presentation will look at Israel's diversity, and we're calling it the many faces of Israel. Anyone who's been to Israel knows this, and it's one of the things that people tell us most often upon returning from Israel the first time. Israel today includes immigrants from over 70 countries. And while in the United States, we're familiar with metaphors comparing the United States to a melting pot, in Israel, the prevailing metaphor is a mixed salad. What does that mean? It simply means that in Israel, the diverse communities that make up the country, representing different religious backgrounds, different cultural backgrounds, different ethnic backgrounds, they honor their traditions and respect and maintain those traditions, and yet still feel part of a whole. I'm especially excited to bring you this discussion of the many faces of Israel, and look forward to seeing you on future videos.
I am Dr. Dalia Fadila, and I am the founder of the Q Schools. Q Schools is an institution for promoting education in the Arab community in Israel. We are well aware of the challenging facing the integration of Arabs inside Israel. We are well aware of the gaps in education and economy between the Arab community and the Jewish community inside Israel. It is our role as grassroots educational and social leaders from within the Arab community, citizens of the state of Israel, to try to create the bridge in between investing in our community on the one hand, and also being integrated and advancing integration within the larger Israeli community. I'm an educator and I'm always optimistic. I see the challenges, yet I would like to tell you more about the opportunities that are there for Arab women, children, young people inside Israel. And the fact that through education, as I said, I am an educator. We believe that we are creating a better reality, a stronger Arab community that is part of a stronger Israel.
Hello, my name is Pantawa Nasefa Dawit. I originally am from Ethiopia. I left Ethiopia when I was 17 and a half and moved to Montreal, Canada. There I stayed for 7.5 years. And then I decided to immigrate to Israel. I met Aliyah in 1994 and joined my family here in Israel. In Israel, I joined the Technion and studied electrical engineering. I graduated in the year 2000 and worked as an electrical engineer for a year and a half. And then I moved to the public sector and I started working for the Jewish Agency, running absorption centers and running a partnership 2000. And then in 2007, I was asked to be the Shaliach of Keren Hayesod, the United Israel Appeal to Sydney, Australia. I and my family stayed in Sydney as Shlichim for about 5 years and came back in the year 2012. Since 2013, I am the executive director of Tabeka, an advocacy organization for justice and equality for Ethiopian Israelis. At Tabeka, we actually work in 3 main areas of activities. The first one, we provide free legal services to Ethiopian Israelis. About 2,000 Ethiopian Israelis called to Tabeka seeking for representation and help. And the services are provided to the community, both in Hebrew and Amharic. The second layer of our activity, we call it empowerment and leadership development. Here, we run a few programs and projects. We teach the community about their rights and obligations as citizens of a democratic Israel. And the third layer of our activity, we call it policy change. Here we work very closely with the government, including the Prime Minister, the ministers, and the police force, and any other government and public authorities. We work together with them in order to eradicate systemic discrimination. We work together with them to improve the lives of the Ethiopian Israelis and make Israel a better place, a more just and a more equal society. And for that, we need to work together with our partners, that is the government and the police, for example. I will be personally happy to meet with you and go in detail about some of the issues that concern all of us.
Hello, my name is Alex Riff. I was born in Ukraine and immigrated to Israel in '91 at the age of 5. For years, to fit in, I tried to forget and erase the Russian culture to become Israeli, but the hole inside me just kept growing. 5 years ago, I started writing poetry about my immigration, which will later become my first poetry book, Silly Girl of the Regime. Soon after that, I established the Cultural Brigade, a group of young adults, Generation 1.5, was born in FSU countries but raised in Israel and connected to my roots once again. In Israel, we will be exploring the culture and immigration story of Israeli Russian speakers and how it is vital to make the Israeli mainstream multicultural and diverse, to make all Israelis feel at home in their country. Thank you, and looking forward to see you.
Hi, my name is Ibrahim Abu Ahmed. I'm a member of the Arab community here in Israel. I work as a researcher, content editor, and speaker at the Alma Research and Education Center. Our focus as a center is to provide knowledge and expertise about the ongoing challenges that we face here in northern Israel along the northern borders. And when we say the northern borders, we talk about the Syrian border and the Lebanese. How do the changes that are going on in these two countries affect our own security and lives here in the north? But as a center, we also decided that it's not enough to just look at the other side of the border, but also take an internal look about our side, particularly about the community that lives here in the north of Israel and the Galilee region. And this is what I like to share with you as you come with Project Interchange, is to give you a glimpse to the Arab community here in Israel. Me, myself, I have a degree in international relations. I actually started my degree in the American University in Cairo, in Egypt, in 2011. So it was amid the Egyptian Revolution, and I had to continue my education and graduated from James Madison University in Virginia. So when you come here to Israel, it is my personal goal and ambition really to expose as many people as possible to my own community, the Arab minority here in Israel. We're about 20% of the population, and it's my firm belief that we are an integral part of this community and of this country. And it's not just enough to talk about the beauty of the culture, the norms, the values, and the delicious food. It's also important to dive in and understand the complexities that we have as a minority here in Israel, and also as a community that is amid a social change, and we are in the middle of a dilemmas and social crossroads. And one of the biggest questions that we have here as a minority is our identity crisis. Who are we as a community? Are we Arab, Palestinians, Israelis, or are we somewhere in the middle? So when you come here, I would definitely want to raise those questions and just give you a glimpse of my community and share with you the story of the reality of the Israeli Arab population here in Israel. Thank you.